Ever feel like you woke up one day and bam, everyone's talking AI? It's like it's everywhere, right? Creating
Everywhere.
art, writing code, even composing symphonies. Wild. So today we're diving into Generative AI Simplified, which I gotta say does a great job of breaking this whole thing down.
Yeah, and it's really about time, right? I mean, for a while there, it felt like generative AI was this mysterious thing that only a select few really understood. But the truth is, it's already impacting so many aspects of our lives. This deep dive is not just about understanding the tech, but really grasping what this explosion of AI-generated content actually means.
Yeah.
This is big, folks. This is about a fundamental shift in how we create, how we consume information.
You hit the nail on the head. And one of the things this book, Generative AI Simplified, does so well is demystify the basics. Like, did you know that at its core, generative AI basically learns by mimicking? It's like, imagine feeding a supercomputer a massive, and I mean massive, mountain of data, images, text, music, you name it, and somehow this computer figures out the patterns, the rules, like the secret sauce of what makes those things tick. It's kind of like how they do that.
And once it's internalized those rules, that's when the real magic happens. It can generate completely new content that has this eerie similarity to what it was trained on. But here's the kicker. It's got its own unique twist. It's not just a copycat. It's like it understands and can riff off the original material.
Okay, see, now that's what I find so mind-blowing. Like, how does a bunch of data, even a mountain of it, magically transform into a symphony or a painting? What's the trick? Spill the AI tea.
Think of it this way. It all boils down to these things called artificial neural networks. Imagine a vast, and I mean vast, network of interconnected nodes, kind of like, and I know this is a simplification, but bear with me, kind of like the human brain, but digital.
Okay, I'm visualizing. Go on.
So each connection in this network, it holds a tiny bit of information. And as the AI processes all the data we talked about, these connections, they either strengthen or they weaken, allowing it to recognize patterns and get this, make predictions. It's learning, but in a way we're still trying to fully wrap our heads around.
So it's building its own internal rule book based on all the data it's consumed.
You got it. And here's the thing. The more data it devours, the more sophisticated, more nuanced its rulebook becomes. That's how it learns to compose music that sounds like, Bach, or generate a painting in the style of Van Gogh. It's wild. It's not just copying. It's using what it's learned to create something totally new.
The book uses the analogy of a digital magician, which I thought was actually pretty clever. It's like instead of a hat and a wand, we've got algorithms and data sets.
Right. It really is a fitting comparison. And just like a magician might specialize in different illusions, different types of generative AI, they excel at specific tasks. We've got AI models designed specifically to generate images, others for text, and some, believe it or not, even for music.
So it's like we've got this whole toolbox of AI wizards at our disposal, each with their own unique skill set. That blows my mind.
You got it. It's like having a custom AI tool for every creative endeavor you can imagine. And speaking of tools, one of the most fascinating tools in this magical AI toolbox is something called a generative adversarial network. But everyone just calls them GANs for short.
GANs. Yes. Those are like the rock stars of the AI world, right? They're the ones creating those crazy, hyper-realistic images you see popping up everywhere online. It's both amazing and a little creepy, if you ask me.
I hear you. They've definitely been making headlines. They're the ones behind those. Is it real or is it AI? Moments that mess with your mind. Imagine this. Two AI models locked in a constant duel.
Okay, now this sounds interesting, like AI gladiators battling it out. Give me the play-by-play.
Okay, so you have one called the generator, which is trying its hardest to create something realistic, something believable. And then you've got the other, the discriminator, whose job is to be the judge, the critic, trying to spot the fake.
So it's like a game of AI cat and mouse trying to outsmart each other.
Exactly. And here's the thing. With each round of this AI duel, the generator gets better, sneakier at creating these convincing fakes, while the discriminator, on the other side, becomes more adept at sniffing them out. This constant back and forth, this competition, is what pushes GANs to create outputs that are almost, and it's freaky, almost indistinguishable from reality.
I mean, that's incredible, impressive even, but I'm not gonna lie, it's also a little unsettling, you know?
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, what happens when we can't tell the difference between what's real, what we can trust, and what's been, AI generated? That's a whole other can of worms.
You're preaching to the choir. That's a question we'll definitely be unpacking as we go deeper into this whole generative AI thing. But before we get totally lost in the ethical weeds, let's shift gears a bit and talk about the real world stuff, the impact generative AI is already having. Because this technology, like it or not, it's already touching our lives in ways we might not even realize, and that's something we need to talk about.
This book, Generative AI Simplified, does not hold back on the whoa factor. Like, it really dives into some impressive ways people are using this technology already, stuff that's already shaking things up.
Oh, absolutely. We're way past the science fiction phase at this point.
Yeah.
Generative AI is making waves in just about every industry you can think of. Healthcare, entertainment, you name it.
And speaking of healthcare, the book totally blew my mind with this idea of AI personalizing medicine. It's like something I'd only dream up after one too many sci-fi movies.
Right. But it's becoming more realistic. I mean, just imagine a future where AI takes a look at your genes, your medical history, even how you live your life, and it creates a treatment plan that's just for you.
Hmm.
Not just what works for most people, but what your body actually needs.
No more one-size-fits-all medicine. Sign me up. It's like this futuristic, personalized healthcare spa, but, for actual medical stuff.
And think of it like having a whole team of digital doctors working behind the scenes, 24/7, analyzing these massive data sets, trying to pinpoint the absolute best treatments, predict any risks, really fine-tune the whole approach. And the book even talked about how generative AI is being used to design new drugs, and get this, at a speed we've never seen before.
Okay, now that's what I call a game changer. I mean, we all know how long it normally takes to develop new medications. We're talking years, sometimes decades. Is AI really speeding up that process that much?
It's still early days, I'll admit,
Yeah.
but the potential is definitely there. Instead of relying on trial and error, which is how it's always been done, generative AI can analyze these huge databases of molecular structures, basically identifying promising candidates for new drugs and actually predicting how effective they might be before even starting trials. This could slash the time and cost of drug discovery.
Wow. I mean, for folks who are waiting on breakthroughs for things like, Alzheimer's, cancer, this is huge. This could change everything.
Exactly. And it's not just about inventing new treatments. Generative AI also has the potential to completely personalize the learning process, making those custom educational experiences we've always talked about a reality. Imagine something that's actually tailored to how individual students learn best.
It's funny you mentioned that. The book really got me thinking about how much easier school could have been with an AI tutor, especially one that knew my, shall we say, unique learning style. I struggled with math big time. But what if I'd had this AI that could explain those tricky concepts in a way that finally clicked for me? It's mind-blowing.
That's the thing about personalization, isn't it? It can make all the difference. And with AI tutors, they could adapt to a student's learning pace, their style, even their emotional state. Talk about next level teaching. It's like providing customized lessons and giving feedback right there in real time.
It's like having a personal tutor on call 24/7, but without that awkward feeling of someone watching you struggle through, I don't know, long division or something.
And the possibilities, they go way beyond the typical school subjects. Think about AI-powered systems that could teach you to play music, speak another language, even code. All of it customized to how you learn best.
Okay, that's officially next level stuff. But let's take a step back for a second. With all this talk about AI's potential, all the cool things it can do, it's easy to get caught up in the hype. But there's another side to this, right? What about the ethical questions, the potential downsides?
Of course, of course. While all these possibilities are undeniably exciting, I think it's crucial to approach this technology with a good dose of caution. Just like any powerful tool, there's always the potential for misuse. And the book does a good job highlighting some of those ethical challenges we need to be thinking about, like the rise of deepfakes and the whole debate around copyright and ownership.
Okay, yeah, those are big ones. Deepfakes, for starters, for those who might not be familiar, what exactly are they and how do they tie into generative AI? So deepfakes, they're basically videos, right? Yep. But someone's face, maybe even their whole body, gets swapped out with someone else's. And the crazy part is it looks so real, like you could never tell it's fake. It's kind of freaked me out just thinking about it.
Yeah, the tech behind deepfakes, you guessed it. It's generative AI, the same stuff that makes those crazy realistic images, except now it's messing with video, which, let's be honest, is way more unsettling.
Right, because now you could literally have someone on video appearing to say or do things they never actually did. I mean, that's wild. Talk about a recipe for spreading misinformation. It's scary how easy it could be to manipulate what people see and believe.
Exactly. And we're already seeing the fallout from that. It's eroding trust, not just in the media, but in each other.
Yeah.
It has the potential to be incredibly damaging. We've got to figure out how to detect these things, how to fight back against the malicious uses of this tech.
Absolutely. And then, as if deepfakes weren't enough to worry about, there's a whole copyright issue. The book really dug into this, and I'm still wrapping my head around it. So, if AI is creating art, writing songs, even turning out computer code, who actually owns the rights to that stuff?
$1 million question, right.
Hmm.
And honestly, there's no easy answer. Our current copyright laws, they were designed for a world where, well, humans were the only creators in town. But now we've got AI generating original work, and it's like, whoa, what does that even mean for ownership? It's challenging everything we thought we knew.
So let me get this straight. If I tell an AI, like, hey, write me a hit song, who owns the copyright? Me, the AI, the company that built the AI? It's giving me a headache just thinking about it.
Yeah, it's a real head scratcher. Some people argue that it's the user, the person who provides the prompt, like in your example. Others say, nope, it belongs to the AI's creators, the ones that made the magic happen.
Man, it's like we're in this totally uncharted territory and we need a whole new rule book.
Exactly. It's a brave new world of AI-generated content, and it's time our laws caught up. We've got to figure out how to encourage all this amazing innovation without leaving our human creators in the dust. It's about finding that balance.
It's definitely a lot to think about. Speaking of interacting with AI, the book did a great job of breaking down how we actually talk to these AI models, how we give them instructions. And it all comes down to something called prompts, right?
Yes, prompts, they're key. They're how we guide the AI, tell it what we want. Think of it like giving directions to a super smart but easily confused friend. The clearer, the more specific you are, the better the results.
So it's like learning to be this AI whisperer, figuring out exactly what to say to get the results you want?
It's an art form, I'm telling you.
Mhm.
People who are really good at this, they use specific keywords, they define the style or the tone they're going for, and they give the AI context, examples, help it along. The book actually has some great tips on this. It's like a cheat sheet for communicating with your AI overlords.
I love that.